So during my time here at Morris 4x4 Center, I've been a part of quite a few different Jeep parades. You know, during Jeep Beach in Daytona, you've got that big parade where they try and set the world records. Same thing in Bantam in Pennsylvania, trying to break those world records. Those Jeep parades are definitely a sight to behold. But I just ran across something that definitely those parades don't hold a candle to. That is the Yipao Jeep Festival that they hold every June in Colombia. It is definitely a sight to behold. Let's talk about that. So before we actually get into the parade itself, you have to learn a little bit about Colombia's histories with the Jeep Willys. So back in 1946, the Ministry of Defense of Colombia ended up buying a whole bunch of Jeeps from the United States military. Now, they ended up buying too much, so they had to sell off the rest, and they sold them to various people, including a lot of coffee bean farmers. And the coffee bean farmers found a replacement for their pack mules because they used to travel these very treacherous routes that were not accessible by a standard vehicle until the Jeep came along. They saw a use for them. They were able to load up more equipment, coffee beans, produce, you name it, into the back of these Jeeps and quickly traverse these trails, going to and from their farms, selling off their lot, and then traveling back. So they were able to make more trips, make more money. It was much more efficient means of travel for them. Now, not just coffee bean farmers, but also all types of farmers, plantains, tobacco, you name it. Everybody was adopting the Jeep. It was pretty much becoming a very fast-growing cult following with the Colombian farmers, and they would also move their entire households on the back of these Jeeps as well, making one trip. I mean, they would load these things sky high with like 4,000 pounds worth of stuff, and you know, slowly but surely as time went on, they started paving these roads, making them wider, and while they still used the Jeeps to traverse these trails, they were much more easy. So you can use even just regular standard vehicles as well, and these stories of the Jeeps being piled sky high soon actually became folklore because it wasn't a sight to be seen anymore. They just had no use for them at that point. Now, this is where the Yipao Jeep Parade comes into play. Colombia wanted to honor their farmers that actually played a key role in Colombia's economy. Without these Jeeps, they weren't able to sell as much and transport as much produce and goods, so they definitely wanted to pay homage to this. And in 1988, they started the annual Yipao Jeep Parade in June. Basically, all of Colombia's farmers and anyone else who happens to own a Jeep Willys gets together. It's usually held in two different cities, in Armenia and Clariquindio. Basically, everybody gets together, they pile their Jeeps sky high, and they do basically a 5-day-long Jeep parade. Now, the people who enter their Jeeps into the Yipao Parade can enter into a variety of different categories. Basically, what that means is you can choose what you're going to haul on the back of your Jeep when you participate into the parade. Now, of course, the OG is going to be coffee. These guys load tons of bags of coffee and coffee-related equipment on the backs of their Jeeps. Now, there also is the agricultural category. So that refers to if you want to throw plantains on there, any type of produce or anything like that, or even livestock. There's people who haul livestock on the back of their Jeeps in that category as well. Also, there's house moving. As I mentioned earlier, a lot of people would pile all their belongings onto the back of their Jeeps and make one trip piled sky high. So all home and house related products you'll see stacked on top of these Jeeps as well. There's also the free category where they just completely bling out their Jeep with you name it. Anything and everything that is bling related they put on their Jeeps. Also, there is the most favorite, the crowd favorite, the piqués category. And basically what that is, they load about 4,000 pounds of whatever on the back of their Jeep so that their Jeeps are doing wheelies only on the rear wheels, and they have to drive as far as possible. Now, what makes this particular category interesting is the quote-unquote cowboys. They have contestants actually get on top of these Jeeps and perform stunts. They hang off the back, the front, they do flips, rolls, you name it, as it's driving on the back wheels. It's absolutely nuts. It's definitely the crowd favorite for sure, for obvious reasons. So I'm sure some of you are probably thinking, oh, that's no big deal. I've participated in Jeep parades that have had over 3,000 Jeeps. I did that at Jeep Beach or at Bantam. Well, guys, the Yipao Jeep Festival was the original gangster. They set the first world record, the Guinness Book of World Record, having 370 Jeeps participate in this parade. So all of you guys who think you're setting a world's first, you're not. Unfortunately, I don't think Colombia is going to regain that title from the Guinness Book of World Records. We kind of have a little bit more Jeeps here in the United States than they do in Colombia. And oddly enough, outside of Colombia, Jeeps aren't really that well known at all in South America. Pretty much just Colombia uses them like that. All the other remaining countries like Chile, Argentina, they don't really have Jeeps like Colombia does. So it pretty much is just isolated into the country of Colombia. So we just wanted to share this interesting find with you guys. If you want to learn more about the Yipao Jeep Festival, just get onto Google and search Yipao Willys Parade, and you're going to find tons and tons of articles and tons of pictures. It's definitely a sight to behold. You're never going to see anything like that here in the United States. So we hope you enjoyed this video. I hope we shed a little bit of light onto the Jeep culture outside of the United States for you guys. My name's Eric with Morris 4x4 Center. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook, and also hit that subscribe button. Be sure to follow us on YouTube as well. We post tons of content all the time. We know you guys are going to enjoy it. Again, I'm Eric, and I hope to see you guys out on the trail.